All right. 93. Turn this down a little bit. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Now, yesterday, which was Tuesday, November 15th, Trump announced his 2024 presidential bid. After long speculation, they have been asking him, is he going to run again? Is he going to run again? They've been asking him forever, right? So he has finally made it official that he will be running for president in 2024. Now, of course, everybody knows that, right? Well, if you are aware, but let me give you the extra, right? Which everybody is not talking about, right? What is the significance of this event? Well, if we look at the astrological data, yesterday, Tuesday, November 15th, Venus transitioned into the zodiac sign of Sagittarius, right? We understand Sagittarius rules over the ninth house, right? The ninth house deals with, you can say, famous people, right? The ninth house of Sagittarius deals with expansion because Sagittarius is ruled by the planet Jupiter. The planet Jupiter is the planet for famous people. It's also the planet of politicians. So it's no coincidence, or let me not say politicians, lawmakers, right? Because there's a difference between politicians and lawmakers, right? The ninth house is the house of lawmakers, right? So there is no coincidence that Trump announces his presidential bid exactly when Venus transitions into the house of the lawmaker, which is basically what he will become as a sitting president, being able to execute not exclusive, executive orders, right? He can have the power to do things and nobody can say nothing about it, right? Also, what's important is you also had Lilith. Lilith has aspects with the north and the south node. It has a trine with the north node and it has a sextile with the south node. And we know the north node and the south node are the nodes of the moon. And the moon represents the public. So he made an announcement to the public about the presidential bid. Right when Lilith has aspects to the north and south node of the moon. Right? What's up, El Ray? Greetings, 93. Right? So I'm just giving you the astrological data so that you can understand why these events happen when they happen. None of this is done haphazardly. None of this is done without the insight of an astrologer. They will never tell you that. But all of these events are planned in accordance to astrological data. We also know Venus, another name for Venus is Lucifer, right? So Lucifer, aka Trump, because everybody, I'm not going to say everybody, there's so many people that hates this man's guts. So to a lot of people, he is Lucifer, right? The most hated, right, of all time. So there is no coincidence. Lucifer made a transition into the sign of Sagittarius. And if we look at the symbol of Sagittarius, it is a centaur. If we know anything about the centaurs, most of the centaurs, like Chiron, for example, right? Chiron is one of the centaurs. If we deal with Chiron, like Chiron in your chart represents your deepest wound and how to heal from it, right? If we even want to use that language, right? I just made a video, we ain't even talking about healing, but this is just the mainstream aspect of Chiron. But it represents, you can say, what hits you the hardest and how to recover from that. So there is no coincidence in when this happened, because the astrological data backs him doing this at this particular time. Because if he would have did it at any other time, the moon also has transitioned into Virgo. The moon is currently in Virgo, right? Which happened, I believe, Monday. But let me clarify that, right? Because I have the data right here. I believe the moon has just transitioned into Venus Monday, but I'm going to make sure that that is accurate. Alright, so just in case I miss anything. Oh no, that's today. Today, November 16th, the moon is transitioning into Virgo, right? So the moon is currently in Leo. And we know Leo is the entertainer. Trump is very entertaining, right? One of the most entertaining people on the planet. It don't matter what he do, people's going to be listening, people's going to be watching. So the moon is currently in Leo, and Venus has just made the transition into Sagittarius. That's two fire signs. And we know Trump, you can say, represents the fire element, the archetypal plane of Atsaluf. Right? That's why you can say he rubbed people the wrong way, because it's like being burned by fire. Right? Because he's willing to burn your ass, right? But even more importantly, this is what I wanted to make clear here, right? Because he gave a statement when he made this announcement in Florida, right? And I want to read to you the statement that he made to even bring this full circle. All right, so let me read the statement that he said, right? And this is very interesting. So here's a direct quote. I have it right here. He said, "Together we will be taking on the most corrupt forces and entrenched interests imaginable. Our country is in a horrible state. We are in grave trouble. This is not a task for a politician or a conventional candidate. This is a task for a great movement that embodies the courage, confidence, and the spirit of the American people." That was the statement he made. What makes this very clever, what makes this very interesting is he said this is not a job, this is not a task for a conventional candidate. So he's speaking about we have to go out of bounds to correct the situation that we have put ourselves in. The situation that we are currently in will not be fixed with conventional methods, which you can say this is what Joe Biden represents. Joe Biden represents the politicians, the career politicians, doing things by the books, doing things by tradition, doing things by convention, right? What's even more important than that is he is speaking about the spirit of the American people. Whenever they talk, these are codes. Never take any of these things on face value. These are codes. The spirit of the American people. What does that really mean? What is the spirit of the American people? If America is full of, you could say, Christians, Muslims, people from all religious backgrounds, right? So what is the spirit of the American people? Because the spirit of the American people should be the unifying energy, right? So what is the unifying energy of the American people. What energy is that? What spirit is that that unifies all Americans, irregardless of your tradition, your religion, your way of life, right? Because you can say, regardless of the differences, what unites us is the spirit of the country. But what spirit is that? Remember, I'm always talking about each city has a spirit. Each city has a ruler. But now you can take that into the state. You can also take that into the country. So now he's tapping directly into the spirit of America, which is still undefined. Because again, people are just, they more so identify with their religious aspects, right? So whenever they speak about the spirit of the American people, what are they really talking about? Again, these are codes. You should not take any of these things on face value. You should never take what any politician says, what any of this should never be taken on face value. That's why we have to clarify and verify these things based on astrological data. That's why I took you directly to the numerology. So if I just told you that Lilith has just made aspects to the north and the south nodes of the moon, then you tell me, what exactly is he speaking about when he speaks about the spirit of the American people? What does that mean? I missed the point because I was speaking about the centaurs, like Venus and Sagittarius, the centaurs. The centaurs, most of them die. That's basically what the point I was making with the centaurs. And whenever we look at the energy of Sagittarius, Sagittarius represents a centaur, like a half human, half horse, right? The horse lower half, but a human upper half. And if you look at the mythology of most centaurs, they end up dying by like self-inflicted wounds. They either die by a self-inflicted wound or they die like, weirdly. Like, for example, one of the centaurs died because they got shot in the foot with a poisonous arrow. I think they actually dropped the arrow themselves. Like, they had a poisonous arrow and they dropped it and it hit their foot and they died. It's like they all die like weirdly. I'm not saying that he's gonna die. I'm just speaking about the energy of the centaur because they're known as healers, right? They're known as revolutionaries, right? So he's basically saying, I am the healer, I am the revolutionary. That's why this is not a conventional task. We need to go out of bounds. Going out of bounds is going into or tapping into the energy of the centaur. So going back to the spirit of the American people, now he just really revealed the secret for those who are paying attention. The spirit of the American people must be none other than Lilith. Well, what evidence do we have to back that up? Well, are women not the most liberated in America? Does America not house the most liberated women on the planet? Are the American women not the most liberated? Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, that's what I thought. It is the spirit of America that this is what created, you can say, this independent spirit, this Lilith energy with women. That's what makes them what they are in America. At least I'm not speaking about the whole world, just in America. Because as you see, depending on what country you are in, the women have a different mentality. So if we're speaking about the American women, their mentality is that of Lilith, right? And we can prove that. Just look at them, right? The positive attributes and the negative attributes. So I'm not even saying it like it's nothing negative, right? This is just what it is. It's based on astrology. It ain't about people's feelings. It's not about opinion. It just is what it is. It's all this energy is neutral. It's up to you to make it positive or negative, or just keep it where it is. So I'm just putting it out there just to keep it where it is because of the timing of this particular event. So I just wanted to share with you this data because I know no one else is going to mention any of this stuff. They're just going to focus directly on what he said. They're going to take it on face value. They're going to take all of these things literally. So I'm just giving you a quick example of this is how you take it beyond the veil to truly know what's going on here so that you can actually tap directly into the spirit, because you can know what you're doing and what spirit you're tapping into, because that's not enough information. That's why we must do our due diligence. We must do our occultism. We must do our esoteric studies to truly understand what is occurring, right? And I'm actually going to make another video right after this, right? Because I have a part 2 to the significance of the death of Takeoff, because there was a part that I did not mention in part one that I feel is very important, right? So I'm going to be right back live in probably about 10 minutes, so I can go ahead and knock that video out too, right? So till then, salute. 93, right? Love is the law, love under will.